All right, ladies and dudes, it's this guy. One of your very favorite people with Parkinson's. That's right, Jeremy McDonald coming at ya. This video is going to be particularly close to my heart. But before we do that, I would just like to remind you that I do have an Instagram and a Facebook. I will put the links in the description. You can follow me. I put all kinds of cool stuff that you can't get on this YouTube channel. Also, like and subscribe. Best way to spread this video. All right, so I had a conversation with my son over. We went on like a little weekend getaway, and we were sitting at a restaurant. And I was a little bit wiggly. I was having trouble. I was like eating some mashed potatoes or something. I was having trouble with it. And he goes, "Now my son's 11. I should just start off by saying." And he said, "Dad, what are we gonna do? Your Parkinson's just keeps getting worse and worse." And it was like, oh. Now, I should say that my child has never known me without PD. I mean, I was diagnosed just a few months after he was born, and I'd been suffering for pretty severely for a year or two previous to that. But it kind of hit me in the heart a little bit, and so that led me to want to talk to you guys. I know we've got a lot of parents and grandparents in this audience from this YouTube channel. So this is something I kind of been delaying talking about it because it's a tough subject. There's no real easy answer to this type of thing, but I feel like honesty is the best tool for this. I really feel like that to not tackle it head on is doing everybody a disservice. Now, I went to, and I'll put a link up in the description, I went to the Harvard Health Publishing Medical School, and there was a section there on dealing with how to tell your children about illness, some serious illness. I mean, obviously you get a cold or something, that's fine. And I've got some tips here that, first of all, I can share my experience. Most of these I've already done. Probably most, or if not all of them, I've already done. The first one being, and this is really important for the younger kids and grandkids, you got to be really careful what you say to a young child because they can't really process it like an adult. It's going to be confusing for them and probably overwhelming. And now it just depends on your illness. Parkinson's, this list is not specific to PD, but I mean, it's like for people with serious health conditions. So, like I said, first of all, you really got to be careful what you say to a young kid. My son was not interested in my Parkinson's for years until I started having a lot of trouble walking. And I remember I got out of the car one time and my legs were kind of doing a little. My friend Catherine calls me a baby giraffe. My legs kind of just do whatever they want. He said, "Dad, whoa, careful. Your legs are all over the place." I'm like, well, this is me. This is my Parkinson's. And that's probably the worst symptom I have is my walking, which actually gets worse with my medication. Look at some of my other videos to try to understand that conundrum. So I've been careful with what I've told him, but he's getting older now, and I kind of have to really I kind of space out what I'm telling him. That's the first thing. Now, of course, if you got grandkids, that's a whole other thing. I know I've got a lot of grandmas and grandpas that watch this channel. I'm sure this will help you too. I'm sure it'll help you too. It's kind of universal. Okay, tip number 2. Talk to your parenting partner, your grandparenting partner about this. Husband, wife, partner, whatever your situation is. Make sure you guys are on the same page. Nothing would be more confusing for a young child or a teenager for that matter to have mom saying one thing or dad saying another, or, grandma and grandpa not agreeing on what to say because this is important stuff. And I really don't know what I would have done if my parents would have had a health condition. I probably would have freaked out. So be on the same page. Tip number 3. Set aside a pretty long period of time to have this discussion. My PD has been ongoing. It's been a continuing dialogue with my son. But if it's new, like if I was newly diagnosed and I had an 11-year-old, I would probably need to sit him down for a while or at least block out enough time, especially for an older kid, to really talk through the issue. Cancer, MS, any kind of life-altering thing, paralysis. You want to spend a lot of time, or at least allocate a lot of time, because they may have a lot of questions and they may not have a lot of questions. kind of like I said, how I get it, I get more questions as it goes along. That's probably my guess as to how your kids and grandkids would probably react. Tip number 4, keep it simple and straightforward. The last thing your kid or grandkid needs at this point is like a lot of flooded information overload. With PD, I just keep it simple. This will not kill dad. It'll make dad be different. I won't be able to do the things I used to do, but it will not kill me. It'll make me miserable sometimes, but it's not going to kill me. That's pretty much one of the big misconceptions of people with Parkinson's. They think it's a death sentence. It's not a death sentence. It's not like ALS or something that is terminal. Just keep it simple and straightforward. Don't give a lot of extra details. They don't need the details. They just need mom or dad or grandma or grandpa has Parkinson's. They're going to need more help. End of story. Tip number 5 goes into tip number 4. Be truthful. Don't sugarcoat it, depending on the age, obviously. If your grandkid or your child is, say, 17, 18, or even adult, like 20s or 30s, shoot them straight. Tell them this is going to get worse. It's a progressive neurological disease. It gets worse over time. Some people decline really rapidly. Some people, it's a really slow progression. Some people, the medicine helps tremendously. Other people have really bad side effects, kind of like myself. You wouldn't know it to see me sitting here, but if you saw me get up and walk, it's a different story. Just be truthful. I'm as truthful with my 11-year-old as I can be. I've told him, not specifically like dad's going to get worse, because he already notices it. I will tell him, son, I'm going to need more help as I get older. You're going to have to do more things. And you're going to be inconvenienced by me at times, but we're family and we work together. That's pretty simple. Number 6. This one's tricky. Don't hide your own feelings. I don't know if I totally agree with this. Just going to be honest with you. I've had some really bad, dark feelings that I've kept from my family. I don't think my family needs to know every feeling I'm going through. So I'm going to kind of put this one as at your own discretion. I do tell my son I'm frustrated sometimes. Like the other night, I was stuck in a chair. I was having trouble moving, and I said, son, can you give me some French fries? No, Dad, I don't want to. I was like, son, you got to understand. When you say that, it is frustrating me because I am already frustrated because I can't get out of this chair to go get my food. So in that sense, I'm truthful, but I got to tell you, I don't really know that we need to be all that truthful with our kids and grandkids about how we're feeling. We can let them know we're sad. We can let them know we're bummed out, but we can't let them in on that desperate black depression that can come with Parkinson's. So I'm going to kind of shaky on that one, no pun intended. Number 7, this one's good. Talk about your helpers. Talk about your doctors. Tell your kids, your grandkids, I've got a really good doctor. He's going to take good care of me. My son has been to the doctor with me a couple times, not actually in the office, but my wife, sometimes we can't get a babysitter, so he'll have to come with the office. So he's gotten used to being in waiting rooms like that and seeing people shaking a little off, struggling a bit. But it's important for him to know that you do have good doctors, that there is some help. Even though there's no cure for Parkinson's, there are treatments. And emphasize when you're feeling better to let your child know, Daddy's feeling better now. Stay positive, but be truthful. Number 8, explain to them how it will affect their daily lives. Like I was just saying in the last segment, I'll tell my son, this is going to require more of you. You're 11 now, but when you get older, you're going to need to help Dad more. I mean, eventually I probably won't be able to drive my son when my son, one thing my kid behind the wheel of a car. But eventually he's going to need to drive me places. And I'm sure it's going to be a bummer for him when he wants to go out with his friends. I'm like, Dad needs help. Now, you don't give it to him all at once. For instance, I mean, like I said, the walking thing is something I'll tell him, son, can you get the mail for me? Can you take the trash to the street? These things are going to be more and more important for you to help me with as I go through this thing, because it's not going to be easier. You're going to be required to help more. Number nine, little Beatles humor there. This is an important one. I think this might be the most important one. Encourage them to ask questions. I do this with my friends. I will say, if you ever have a question about Parkinson's and how it's going to affect me, or maybe why I'm acting strange, ask questions. For instance, my good buddy John was over. We were watching the Blues on my Blues hat, watching on the old TV in the other room. And my medicine started to wear off. And this could apply to a kid as well. And I said, I'm going to have to sit here for a minute because my medicine is wearing off. I'm going through like the down period between the dose. And he said, just tell me what's going to happen so I'll know what to do. I said, basically, I'm just going to get quiet and my muscles might twitch a little bit and then my medicine will start working. I'll be back. So, but encourage your kids to ask questions. I mean, I think of like if I had grandkids, why is grandpa moving so slow? Why is his hand shaking? And that's your perfect opportunity. Maybe as a grandma you can step in. Or maybe as a wife you can step in. Grandpa's medicine is wore off. He's getting shaky right now. Or maybe sometimes I get real quiet in my speech and people can think I'm mad or mumbling. It's like, this is what happens. My son's been through this all the time. He calls me, you're Ozzy Osbourne. Because obviously Ozzy has Parkinson's, but he also has done a lot of drugs, so I don't really know. But it's funny because he'll tell me, he'll say, Dad, you look like Ozzy Osbourne. God, I wish I had Ozzy's hair. Number 10, be prepared for any reaction. Things could get deep. Things could get frantic, hysterical. You just don't know what reaction you're going to get. Once again, it sucks that I got sick so young, but my son has never known me without Parkinson's. So I don't really have to deal with reactions other than like, Dad, I don't want to get the mail. He's used to it by now, but I can't even imagine having a teenage kid and the fear that may go into it. Now, hopefully you're not like, oh my God, I've got Parkinson's, I don't know what I'm going to do. If you do that, they will mirror you. So please don't do that. I mean, you might be feeling it inside. Go to a private room, have your fit. We all have them. I've had one. Every person I've ever known with Parkinson's has had that moment where they're like, I can't deal. But just be prepared for them to maybe get a little upset, a little pouty. I think as a kid, I probably would have gotten real quiet and would have kind of pouted because I didn't know what to do about it. That's my thought. There you go. Be prepared for any reaction. Number 11, the last one here. And I totally agree with this. Ask for help. You are going through a lot, and I've talked with one of my very good friends with Parkinson's. She recommended to me that I go and talk to a therapist because she's like, you've got parenting and you've got Parkinson's. Not good bedfellows. So just try not to do it all yourself. As well as don't be afraid to ask for help from your kids. Or maybe get help for them. Maybe they're going through something. Don't be afraid to say, do you need to talk to somebody? Dad talks to somebody. Mom talks to somebody. Maybe you need to talk to somebody about this. Well, that's all I got, folks, on this subject. Hope some of it helps you. I mean, like I said, we all have our own journey, our own things we go through. Our own children and grandchildren have their own issues. Just remember that your actions and what you say affects other people, especially the young ones around you. I know I got a lot of grandparents that watch this channel. And it's a tough subject. Nobody wants to talk about Parkinson's. I mean, it can be shameful. You shake. Some people drool. You can't walk right. You're falling over yourself. You start twitching around when you don't want to. And this definitely puts a burden on our families and on our children and our grandchildren. But just be open. That's why the one thing, if I could say through everything that I've said here, just be open, be willing and able to talk about it, because your children and grandchildren, maybe not initially, but will eventually want to talk. And maybe your own grown-up children or the aunts and uncles, maybe you can help educate them and it can kind of be shared amongst what they say it takes a village. Thank you so much for watching and subscribing. You guys make my day. I get so many nice compliments. It's really been a bright spot. And I mean, I'm not saying I don't have a good life, but it's been a bright spot when I've had some darkness, to know that I can put this out there and there's a community of people out there that respond and I can interact with. I read every comment I get. I try to respond to everyone. You know how the rest of it goes, saying until the next time from the windy city of St. Louis, peace and love from Jeremy.